Good morning, Pharaoh. Welcome back to Science Time. I've got a brilliant science challenge for you today. I know I say that a lot, but this one I think will really impress you as well. And it's called Can You Walk Through Paper? Now, straight away, I know you'll probably give me the strangest of looks because you think, no, you can't walk through paper. But I'm going to show you a way that you can. It feels a little bit of maths and science today, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So we don't need very much equipment. A couple of sheets of A4 paper would be really good. I'm just using some that I've used for maths before, so scrap paper is absolutely fine. A ruler and a pencil would be really handy. You can go rogue and do it without, but I think it's quite good for the first time to use a ruler and a pencil. And you also need some scissors because there's some cutting involved. Now please be very, very careful because obviously if you're using scissors, it can be quite tricky. So please ask an adult if they can do this with you. Right, let's get started. So, for our method. Now, for effect, it would be really good if you said to your family, can you cut a piece of paper to make the largest possible hole? And they'll probably do something like this. They'll probably fold it in half and then they'll probably cut around here, something like this. Obviously, they'd be very careful with their fingers, so would you. But they'll cut something which looks a bit like that. And they'll say, yeah, there you go. I've made the largest possible hole I can in the piece of paper. And you'd say, well done. But now, could you climb through that? Now, they might have a go and they'll probably pop their arm in and they'll realise they can't get it any further than that before it rips. Okay, so that leads you in perfectly for what you're now going to do. So, we're going to fold our piece of paper in half. Try and get it as close to perfectly in half as you can. Okay, crease down really well. And now turn the fold towards you. So I'm sat at a bit of an angle. So there's my fold. So I'm going to put it towards me. Okay. Now with your ruler, you're going to draw some lines. You're going to go from the fold. There's the fold. I do a little star on the fold. We're going to go from the fold to the edge. But we're not going to go all the way to the edge. We're going to stop about 1 centimetre away. So if I take the ruler away, can you see there's about 1 centimetre from the end? So this is the fold. Now I'm going to go the other way. So I'm now going to draw a ruler line from the other way and stop about 1 centimetre from the fold. Okay, so it looks a little bit like a maze. And I'm now going to continue that. Until it looks a bit like this. Okay, now that we've got all of our lines, we're now going to start to cut some of these lines. Okay, now you have to be careful. We're not going to cut all the way to the end, only along your line. So let's have a go. I'm going to do all these ones first and then I'm going to turn the piece of paper. So I've now cut all the way through. Now you're going to put the fold back towards you. Now you'll see that you've made quite a few little loops. Okay, now some of these loops we're going to cut, but we're not going to cut either end. So I'm going to put a little star on them to remind me not to cut those ones. But the others, what we're going to do is we're just going to cut through on the fold. So where that fold is, we're just going to very carefully cut through. And I'm going to continue up along the fold. So notice how I was being really careful with my fingers, and this is where you'll probably need an adult to help you. It's fiddly. Don't rush it, take your time, but you know I've done it really slowly and really carefully. Now, if you carefully pull this piece of paper, you will see that now you have made an enormous chain. Look at that. And that is how you are going to walk through a piece of paper. That should now be big enough for you to sit yourself in, to possibly even get the whole family in. Now I bet you didn't think that would happen. Now I've told you why for every single other science investigation, but this time I want you to think about why. I want you to tell me why. What's happened? What did we do with the piece of paper? And how have we now got a piece of paper that's big enough for us to all climb into? If we had the other loop before, when we cut the loop, the widest loop possible by folding the paper, there was no way. We might have got perhaps 2 arms in there, maybe a leg or 2, but we wouldn't really have got our whole body into it. But now we can, and potentially now we could actually get the whole family in there. So what's happened? Why has that same piece of paper now enabled us to actually get everyone inside it? What's happened? I want you to tell me. I'd love to see all your ideas on the blog. And I'm going to get you thinking this time. Now I'm going to give you a few other challenges in just a moment for you to think about as well, and for you to try, because I'd love to see you exploring this. Okay, so one of the first things I want you to investigate is, does it make a difference if the lines are closer to each other or further apart? So you might have some very thinly spaced lines on one piece of paper and maybe some very widely spaced lines on another piece. Does that make a difference in the size of the loop that you create? Another challenge that I'd like you to investigate is, could you get the whole family into a piece of A5 paper? So what I've done is I've cut the A4 piece of paper in half, so it's now half the size that it was. I folded it in half, and now I'm going to investigate what happens with an A5 piece of paper. You could even go smaller, and you could use 1/4 of the size of A4. You could try it with this. So what could you investigate? What are you going to find out? What's going to happen? The whole time try and predict in your head first, and then carry it out and investigate, and then try to conclude. Why did it happen? How did it happen? What's happening? Have fun with this. I'd love to see your photos, as always. Perhaps you might upload some photos this time of you inside your loops. Perhaps you and the family inside your loops. I look forward to seeing your photos, guys, on the blog. Happy investigating. I've popped a couple of mine on the end too, just because it is pretty amazing. And don't forget to put your ideas onto there as to why it happened. See you next time, guys. Bye for now.